Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Scorpio. So today the reading is about the sun in Cancer giving the light to the moon, which is today in your sign. We see how the bird is looking at the Holy Grail, and Cancer, water sign like you, the fourth house of friends and family. You are the eighth house of reincarnation, and the rune alphabet for your card is Barkan, the bark, the boat, which we can see here floating on the river. And yes, the eighth house of reincarnation says that we will come back successfully, we will transition again and again through time and space, right? Now, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and you are ruled by Pluto, the judge, the big transformation. So a lot of emotions are happening here because two water signs are coming together. We're going to feel the next 2 days quite emotional. And the yoga position that I gave for Cancer is the Ashwasanchalanasana, the high lounge, the horses that we can become ourselves. And the yoga position for Scorpio is, of course, the Scorpio pose. Here we go and transition from the deep waters of noon, Pisces, the fish, out and create a new body, a new world. We overcome the thinking mind by putting our feet above our head. Your court card is the King of Cups. If your birthday is between October 13 and November 12, then this is your court card here in Hermann Heindel's Tarot. It's Odin. Odin is the father of the cups of the north, and he was hanging upside down on the world tree for 9 days, and then he points with his finger. The finger is that straight phallic pointedness, and says, have a look at the rune alphabet, because he was hanging upside down so that his head was closer to the source. The source is called Mimirs, and to receive the rune alphabet. 9 days is, of course, then the Hermit. 9 days is to recognize that's how long it takes for a human being to grow in the mother's womb. And we see how one eye is actually not there anymore, and it's his right eye. It's that eye that says, well, the masculine, I give up the masculine, the aggressive side of me, and I'm just looking out of the feminine, the intuitive eye. Very powerful, right? And you see he's hanging on a tree that has 2 stems. That's the duality that's speaking here. Anyway, this card is filled with mythology, and it would take too long if I explain everything today. So if that's your birth date, then that's your court card. If not, look in the description. I have listed all the cards below. Last time, Gemini Sun was giving Scorpio Moon the light, learning to pass through the mental fog to get to the next dimension. You had the ghost dance, you had then the 4, the material world, the world that is here where you have power. And then you had the lost compass, which is the 8. So you had a portal, 22, a 4, and the 8. It's I think, I mean, Gemini is an air sign, and you are a water sign, so sometimes that can quite be intense mentally, right? Now you are familiar with the water sign, so now you get actually through Cancer a feeling that, yeah, you can handle the things, right? You can go with what that is bringing to you. I'm gonna pull one more card out of the Lifruma Healing Oracle, which is connected with the rune alphabet, all 78 cards. And so we're gonna see which one of the runes are speaking to you, because you are pointing at them. Right here at Herman Handel, right, you have Oda. You have here a very powerful personality. Oda is a king. He is power. He is the creator, the thinker. He is a warrior. He's a prophet. And so in a way, this fits very good with this Buddhistic perspective of this warrior that is holding the Holy Grail. Burst out free. The number 55, Et Berstan. Just gonna show you. You can stop the video and read yourself. These are beautifully written. Tension creaks and arches as the ancient yew bow suppresses rayless tortures endured for aeons. The arrow shelf only holds so long. Even when the serving point is pulled tight and knuckled back, fastened hearts demand their liberation. The taut bowstring knows this faux obsessive pairing will eventually break free from its narcissist fist. At some point it will burst out and flee the archer's control. Fletchers gift arrows feathers to sail safely away, flying alone to target a new home. Well, we see here 1, 2, 3, 4 arrows. So these 3 point to the left, and this one is pointing to the right. And you know by now that I am creating 2 types of readings. One where you get once a month your reading, because the sun is giving the light to the moon now in your sign. That's when you get the right spinning reading with this 1 arrow. And on your full moon you get a left spinning reading. I place all the cards to the left, and that is your soul reading, and to the right that's your human reading, and that's when you get once a month a reading, because the sun is giving the light to your moon. And I do it always on the day the moon is really in your sign. So you have here the number 55 coming up, speaking to you, and seeing that you have to recognize that an arrow at first goes quite straight, and eventually it's kind of like coming down. It's like, it looks like a bow. And so you see that part in us that wants directly to go to a place, directly do things, directly see things that are happening here in our world, that even though they're very masculine, they begin very masculine, they end up feminine. It's that interaction between the yin and the yang, and it's really important to recognize that. Good. So I think I have everything here to start the reading, and we begin on the position of the Fool. That's foolish ideas, the 5 of Pentacles. And the 5 are the 5 senses, and the 5 is connected with Taurus, which is opposite of you. And Taurus is the understanding that the 555 test coming here directly 555 to you is how you gonna recognize now your path into this world, even though you have 3 arrows that point to the left, right? That the soul is literally saying the 3 in your card, the 13, the 3 is the Empress, and the Empress is the one that is giving you always the new birth. And so you're feeling this 5 as an inspiration to become more sensitive to the 5 senses. Then of course it's Mercury in Taurus, and Mercury in Taurus says that you are sometimes tested through these 5 senses, and that's the life here in this dimension, right? The 5th dimension is that humanness, but you have 3 times the 5, which is the Empress, the new birth that she gives again and again. On the position then of the Magician comes the many paths, the number 34, and so we have a 3, the Empress, we have a 4, the Emperor, and together it's a 7. And so Cancer is bringing to you an understanding that the Empress and the Emperor have to unite to then actually recognize that she takes a different path than he. But in the 7, we recognize in the 7th chakra that we can put them together, the black and the white, and together they can pull together into the same direction. The 7 then here with the 1 of the Magician creates an 8, the infinity symbol of infinite potential that the Magician sees with all his different eyes. He has eyes here, he has eyes over here. I mean, there are many faces in here in this Magician. If you look long enough, and he has all the 4 elements, right? The 4, the responsibility as well to take care of those 4 elements, right? And you see the 4 elements here as the number 4, and in the center is that 1 coin, is that holy coin that creates then the 5, the 5th sense. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes the Queen of Wands, an Aries, and that's the number 1. And so you have with the 2 of the High Priestess and the 1 a 3, and so you have a 3 here, and you recognize immediately that you're finding here that taking action, and a kind of action that's very unmistakable, right? It's kind of like sometimes quite an impulse that feels like this arrow. This arrow is like, I am going, right? This path or these paths are here to be taken, and so I am going. I am taking that path, and that's what she is saying. Intuitive, I feel like I'm gonna go and do it. I go and do it. Take action, right? That's what the Queen or Aries is about. The Emperor, which is in here in the 4, right? And the Emperor is that direction, right? Where she is more the circular. And like I said, right, every arrow shoots out straight and then turns into a half crescent bow. And so, like, you know, right, out of direction becomes a circular energy. Then comes on the position of the Empress. Here, the Hermit, the number 9. And that's interesting because I said you have been hanging on the tree of knowledge, the world tree, for 9 days to get the rune alphabet. And the rune alphabet down here is saying Tarot. And so the Hermit is coming and saying, well, have a look. I'm using the wand not to take action, but I'm using the wand to hold the energy of I am the direction always, even though I am shooting out an arrow. in the end, I am the arrow. I am that extension through the arrow, the wand that he's holding. And he's holding the light. And here in this lantern, we don't see the star. Usually some of them put the star in there, the hexagram. Some put the sun in it. And the sun is a dwarf star, right? And so the number 9 here speaks strongly through the Empress, and that's becoming a 12, and that's the 12 zodiac signs together, right? And so you know there is something magic happening when you listen to her and you see she is standing in this half moon, and it looks like it's a bar. It's like also like a little boat, and you see her. You see this? So this is the Empress in that boat, bringing the new generation to the world, right? And she gives birth here to a full completion. And understanding that, yeah, the first zodiac sign, Aries, going into Virgo, which of course is the 6th zodiac sign, right? But it's the 9th major arcana. On the position then of the Chariot, Sun in Cancer, we have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the number 10. We have the fortune to understand that the 9, 10, a succession up, is creating a 17, and the 17 creates the Age of Aquarius, the star card, the star that is usually here in this lantern. And so you recognize that Cancer is bringing to you something magic in this month. For you to recognize that a lot of things are speaking to you in riddles, because you have here the 7 of the many paths, right? And the 1 is an 8. And so then you have an 8, 8 here with the connection, of course, of the number 7 of the Chariot above the 10. So there's an 8, 8 portal happening, framing the 9, the completion, framing that everything has its place, its purpose, its meaning, and all you need to do is to watch and to observe and not to judge. On the position then of the King of Cups comes the 2 of Swords, and the 2 of Swords always speaks about that peacefulness that you have to find deep within. And you see 2 swords coming down, and it's that calm moment of duality, both of them pointing into one direction, towards the earth. Air and earth. Air is masculine, earth is feminine. So there is a calmness coming. Moon in Libra. We had yesterday the moon in Libra. So there has been something that brought a calmness to you, because you're pointing down with your fingers. You're pointing actually at this. Stay calm, stay connected, because you're the 8th zodiac sign plus 2 is a 10. So then it becomes a 10-10. Right? The happiness, once you come into the center of the wheel, you have here 10 sections, and speaking in riddles, right? This 10-10 moment is when you calm, you empower yourself clearly, right? So then on the position of Death card comes again the Queen of Wands. So you have twice the Queen of Wands, and that's why I'm using different decks on each position, so we can see how these people have painted these cards. So now this is the Hermetic Tarot, and this is Herman Handel. Herman Handel used a lot Aleister Crowley. So there are 2 schools, right, that started in 1888, one in Paris and one in London. And there are 2 schools coming out of that, and one is actually the Hermetic Tarot, and the other one is more the Rose Cross Tarot, and the other one is the Golden Dawn Hermetic Tarot, and the other one is the Rose Cross order, right? And so I really like to see how different they were making these cards available for us. And so nevertheless, you have twice now Aries coming to you, speaking to you, giving you the power to be sexually really open and to see that actually the death is in France, la petite mort. La petite mort is the orgasm, and you see how she's sitting here. She's black. She's the one that destroys. She's the one that maintains, and she's the one also that creates. She's the one that maintains, and she's also the one that destroys. So there are 3 steps in her, and the 3 again as the Empress, right, with the Hermit, that creates then a 12. All 12 zodiac signs are here, and the 9 always gives itself up for the other number. That's the beauty about the 9, the Hermit, right? This 9, hanging 9 days on the world tree, and recognizing after 9 days that you have understood what the rune alphabet is bringing you. And the rune alphabet is bringing you then the 55, which in a way is a 10, right? But I don't calculate that together. And so here you see that the 13, the 4, not calculated together, the 1 and the 3 in your number is telling you be magic, right? Use many paths to recognize that you can achieve what you achieve, and that you can give birth to whatever you want to give birth to through the Empress. And here you give birth, it's almost like a sexual act, right? Some women are able to actually create such a slow birth that they almost have they have an orgasm by giving birth, right? It's really difficult, but it's possible. And so it's almost like, yeah, you're giving birth. You're really giving birth. After you let go, you're giving birth to something completely new, to the 1, right? Because she's the first zodiac sign here. So the 13, all right, the 13 plus the 1 of the zodiac signs, Aries, creates then a 5. So here we have, again, the 5, 5, 5, 5. 4 times the 5, right? And so there is something talking to you, clearly. And we see how it continues. Then on the position of the moon, which is in your sign, comes here the drifter, the experiencing life as it comes, the number 14. Guess what? It creates a 5. So you have a 5 here made of 1 and 4. 1, the magic, see the magic in the 4 elements, in the responsibility over the 4 elements, in recognizing that 4 is the world, is the stability, is the square, right? So you have a 4 outside and the 1 in the center. And so you know that the 5 senses, in the end, through the 5th sense, of course, then in the end the 6th sense, which is our 3rd eye, but through the 5th sense, which is our voice, which is space, which is where the knowledge comes to us so we can speak. And speaking is the rune alphabet, the first words that came to you. You are now here in this drifting alley, and you are experiencing life just as it comes, and you allow it to be, because the 18 becomes a 9, right? And it's connected to the Hermit, and this is the 1, again, the magic to the 8, the infinite potential of all we can imagine here, right? And so the 9 and the 5 creates a 14, and the 5 stays left, right? So you want to evolve, you're longing to evolve, and to create here more an experience for life just as it comes is something that is now pushing you, because she is above that, right? She is with, of course, the Scorpio position here. She came up the moon, right? And so the dream oracle is bringing you to drift here with whatever comes to you in your mind, in your Aries connection here, right, which is the brain. He brings ideas and also creativity and sexuality to you, and so let go, right? Really let go. Then on the position of the sun, which is in Cancer, here the 1 and the 9, again the magic in the completion, to recognize when something is complete, it already dies, right? Comes here this beautiful card, the number 25, the voice, the speaking your word, and that's exactly then the 5 of here, this 5, right? And again this 5 and 5, and 5 is the Hierophant, which is opposite of you. This is giving you the light in your full moon. The Hierophant, the Taurus energy, is important for you, the 5 senses. That's why he's also very sensuous, the Taurus, right, energy. So Taurus is speaking to you, Taurus incorporating Taurus, which is opposite of you. And so here there's a calling, and that's again that 5th element, which is the voice, speaking the voice, seeing that the rune alphabet has come to you. And so the rune is this German word of raunen, is like this whispering. They were whispering words to each other, and people were like, what are they whispering, right? So the rune alphabet is actually the whispering alphabet, and so here you're blasting it out as the number 25, which is almost like the Cancer chariot warrior. Is like, I am gonna get this out into the world, this message. I'm gonna see that I am now recognizing the 5 as the 5 senses. It's not a card mostly where people say, okay, Mercury in Taurus. The message here is of like, you're lost, you in poverty, you don't know how you get through, because 5 is that test, always the test, right? And Mercury in Taurus is letting you know, well, there is a little bit of a difficulty in the way you see the financial situation. But here you're blasting it out, adding the 2, adding the duality to the 5. So you are in the 7th chakra, and the 7th chakra is like, now bring that love out there into the world very clearly, because of the position of the universe, you are getting then the 9 of Cups, the 9 of emotions. Here comes Jupiter in Pisces. Pisces, right? The deep understanding of the word noon, of your card noon, the Hebrew word that's saying, well, come out of the subconscious and transform yourself. And here we have the world, the number 21, the intuition and the magic together creates the world. And then again, the 9, the completion. You feel complete, emotionally complete. You feel complete because you have the 9 here, right? And then again, you have a 21 here with 3. So you have an understanding that the world wants to speak to you, that the world, as that 3 speaks to you in giving birth continuously, and you are recognizing that, yeah, this dragon is putting it out there, is blasting it out there. It's almost like, you see this here, it's like spewing out the fires. She's like, yes, I'm letting it out. Yes, I'm letting it out in my sexual desire. I am that fire. I am many path. I am the wheel of fortune, right? I am directing myself in my life, right, forward through the 3. And then of course you see that the 5 here fits into the 9, right, once, and then we have a 5 and a 4, right, and then we see that the 4 takes responsibility over the 5 senses, and so we can come into a completion, so we can come into a deeper understanding of like the 9 is this I have arrived. I really have arrived, and I understand the five senses is not something terrible. It's actually something that gives me the understanding that I have to work with my five senses, because this is where the three errors are, right? The three errors that are left here in this card with the universe, right? With the world and the nine and the happiness and the enjoyment, and Jupiter in Pisces, like I said, is Jupiter here, right? Jupiter is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune will always spin and turn and change things, but you have understood something quite profound, right? You have understood here that a peacefulness in bringing the duality together, right? The two that is here with the five, bringing the duality together. The duality is the giving birth, is here giving birth to a sexual creativity, because she is the two. The two is the yoni, the one is the lingam. That's why he's pointing with the finger down to the rune alphabet. I mean, it's just like I can continue and continue, but I think that's the message here, that you are recognizing a deep message, right? In the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 5 times the 5. There is the message, right? 5 times 5 is using your voice so that you can be heard, and that is going to make you really happy. So I hope I see you in the next one. That's when then the Earth spins in such a way that we see behind the Sun the constellation Leo. Leo is a fire sign, so there's a little bit of a fire energy here with, of course, the Queen of Wands, but it's Aries. But nevertheless, there's going to be quite a shift happening in the next reading. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.